Hi, it's Wednesday. That means it's time for another video edition of Widower Wednesday. I'm Abel Keogh, author of the Ultimate Dating Guide for Widowers. And today we're answering more questions from widowers. Today we're going to talk about the best way for widowers to meet people. This is a great topic and a great question. Thanks for sending it in. And by the way, if you have more questions you want me to answer, just drop them down in the comments below and I'll make videos on them. So one of the questions I'm asked by widowers is, what's a great way to meet people? And good question. Probably difficult for widowers, especially if they've been out of the dating game for years or in some cases decades. You know, they've been married, been with the same woman a long time, and suddenly, you know, they find themselves wanting to date again. So how do you meet people? Well, I'm going to give you 3 ways that you could possibly meet people. There's a good way, a better way, and then a best way. And so we'll talk about the pros and cons of each of these. But I guess before we go into that, just remember that dating is going to be a lot different now than it was probably when you met your wife and things went on, and not just in terms of technology and things like that, but just a lot, people and their expectations have probably changed. So probably keep that in mind as you're going through and listening to this, that it's kind of a whole new world out there. I know for me, I mean, I was only, oh geez, I guess it had been maybe 4 or 5 years when my late wife died by the time I dated, by the time I started dating again. And even then, it's just different because of your age. Just because of your circumstances, it kind of throws a monkey wrench sometimes in things. So just keep that in mind as you're listening. Anyway, without further ado, let's talk about the 3 ways that you can go ahead and meet people. So I'm going to give you the good way first. It's probably the most common way. There's definitely some pros to it, but probably a lot of cons to it as well. And that's through online dating sites or online dating apps. You can go in there, fill out a profile, tell the world about yourself, fill out some surveys, and then you can start meeting people by swiping on an app or clicking on a profile, sending them messages, things like that. So that's probably the most common way. It's probably the easiest way to go out there and get in the dating world again. You can put up there that you're a widower. Kind of maybe filter out people. It's a good way to maybe filter out people who aren't interested in dating widowers. Kind of a good way to maybe see what's out there and see what's going. So it's a good way to screen lots of people really fast. Good way to maybe connect and start conversations with people very quickly, through text or email or, whatever method or people are out there. So there's definitely some pros to it. Obviously, millions of people do it, but in my mind, there's also lots of cons to it as well. It's hard to get to know someone online. It's hard to get to know someone just by texting. It's hard to get to know someone by email. To really get to know someone, you've got to be there person to person with them. So I do have some experience in online dating. This was the early days of online dating, when online dating was considered something for losers and people who couldn't get a real date. But when my late wife died, I actually went on there and did that. And the thing I found then, and is still relevant now, talking to widowers and those who date online, is that you meet someone online, and again, you're communicating them through an impersonal method, whether it's text, email, whatever. And so you kind of build up expectations in your head about who this person is, and it's and then you actually go out there and meet the person, and the person is nothing like you expected them to be, because it's not necessarily their fault. Usually it's not the case that they've misrepresented themselves, though that does happen. But usually it's the case that you start chatting with someone and you're having these great chats, or you're having these great conversations. They've got a great photo up there, they look great, and then you go meet the person, and hey, they're just as pretty as they were in their photo, but their personality is completely different. They aren't the person that that you met online, or the person that you thought you were dating. So it's a good way, I think, especially maybe if you're first dating again, and you're looking to go in there and maybe just kind of date some people quick. I have a video that I'll link to at the end, where I talk about dating again, and how to kind of break yourself back into the dating waters. I'll link to it down in the comments and at the end of this video. But just think of it as as maybe a good way to maybe start and test the waters. And that's not to say you can't find somebody online. I do know lots of people that have found their matches online, but there's just some issues with it. And I guess the other thing I don't like about it, or the other concern that I have, at least when it comes to widowers, is that it keeps you in the house. It keeps you on the computer on the house. You're not interacting with people. There's no face-to-face interaction. And again, I understand that dating's intimidating at first when you get back out there again, and so it might be a kind of an easy way to break into it. But the downside is these expectations get built up in your head, and the people don't turn out to be what you've imagined them to be. The other thing is it's keeping you inside. It's keeping you on the computer. And while that's okay in limited amounts, when you're a widower, honestly, the best thing you can do is get out and be with people. So there's a better way to meet people, and this it's not the best way, but it's the better way to meet people. And what I encourage widowers to do is, if they're looking to meet someone, is to go out and get active in their community. It could be in a civic group, a church group, some other type of place where you can meet people that have similar interests to you. Always nice, when you're dating someone, to have something you can go back and talk about, or maybe a cause that you're working towards. And so I encourage widowers to get involved in something that they're interested in. Maybe it's a political group, maybe it's just a volunteer group. I mean, there's lots of places you can go out there, and you're not necessarily going out there with the intent to meet somebody, but you're going out there to get active and to just kind of have some interactions with people. And I know that a lot of people have met their spouses that way. They've met them at places where people associate and get to know each other. I actually know people that have met their spouses that way than through the online dating thing. Me and Julie, if you want to know how we met, it was actually at church. We happened to attend the same church, and I noticed she was single, and things went from there. You can read all about it in Room for Two. But Julie and I never would have met online. I'll be flat out honest with you. We never would have connected online. Our profiles never, despite some commonalities, there's no way that our profiles ever would have matched us up online, and odds are we never would have got together. So the better way is to go out there and figure out something that you have an interest in. And become involved in that community, and I think you'll be surprised that after you're involved in it for a bit, dating opportunities do open themselves. But there's a third way, and this is what I call the best way to go ahead and do it. It takes a little bit of work, it takes a little bit of patience, but I've seen it work over and over again. It has a very high success rate when actually tried and applied correctly. Now, I do want to say that I didn't come up with this. I had a coworker many years ago, going back maybe 15 years, who told me the story, and this is how he met his wife. And I thought about it, and I thought about it so much that I started suggesting friends who were looking for spouses to go ahead and try this method, and I'd say it has probably for those who have honestly tried it and done it the right way, it probably has a 50 to 60% success rate. So very high success rate, but it does take some patience and it does take some time for it to work. So this is how I honestly recommend. This is the best way to go out there and find someone. And again, it may not be the best way to do it at first. Maybe you want to just have some casual dates, some casual get to know you sessions with people through the internet first, just to kind of break into your, kind of get your dating legs back a little bit. But here's how it works, and this is the way I recommend. So what you do is you go to people you trust, and those can be family members, those can be friends, they can be coworkers, but the key is you have to implicitly trust these people, and you have to trust their judgment. Okay, this can't just be a casual friend or somebody that you kind of know. This has to be people that you implicitly trust, and their opinions and their tastes, so to speak, that you implicitly trust. Okay, also helps that maybe if they're not really grieving over the late wife or something like that too. So just throwing that out there. But what you do is you go and you find somebody, you find a couple or two that you implicitly trust. Also helps if they're married, because honestly, it's usually the wife in the relationship that kind of does a lot of the legwork here that I'll tell you about. But Go to a couple that you implicitly trust and tell them that that you're ready to meet someone. And I don't know how you want to cage that. You can say that I'm looking to get serious with someone. I'm looking to move on, whatever. But you go to them and you tell them that, and this is the deal that you make with them. You tell them to think long and hard, and doesn't have to be right away. You just say, look, if you know somebody that you think you want to set me up with, this is what I want you to do. We'll go out on a double date. So this couple will go out, and they'll invite this other person to go out, and you go out, and so the four of you go out together for dinner or something like that. And it has to be an activity where you can actually have some FaceTime and talk to each other. Going to a movie or something doesn't cut it. For this first date, it has to be a place where you can sit down and talk. And so, for example, you go to this couple that you know and say, look, I'm interested in getting serious with someone. If you think of someone that you think would be a good fit for me or a good match, or someone you think I should get to know, you let me know and I'll set up a date, and the four of us will go out. We'll go out to a dinner, and then I'm going to pay for it. Okay, so I'll pay for it. But the thing is this couple has to come with you. They're not setting you up on a blind date and kind of hoping things work out. It puts accountability on their part as well. So trust me, if they go out with you on the first date, they're going to put a little more effort into who they refer than just maybe casually doing it. So the way it works is that the four of you go out together, you go out and have dinner. It's easy. It takes some pressure off you. It takes pressure off this person you don't know, because you both have some commonalities with a couple, and you sit there and you get to know each other. You have hopefully a great conversation. And then you kind of take it from there on your own. If you think that this person, whoever has been referred to you, is a good match, is a good fit, then you can take it from there. Whatever, ask for her number, figure out things, and you can go out on another date from there on your own. But so that's how it works in a nutshell. Very simple. But it does, again, require patience on your part. Most people, when you ask them to do this, they probably don't have someone off the top of their head thinking, oh yeah, you should go out with so-and-so. That's probably not what they're thinking. It's going to take some time. I've seen cases where it's taken as little as 3 or 4 weeks for this first date to happen. I've seen cases where it's taken as long as 6 months. But the point is that you're kind of putting some effort on other people. If you know how to find a job, the best way to find a job is to network and to referral. I also say the best way to find a spouse is to network and to get referrals. But again, it's from people that you trust, people whose opinion that you trust, because you don't want to be set up with just anyone. You want to be set up with someone who knows you and knows you well. And then is willing, as part of this, to go out to dinner or whatever, and to kind of take a little risk to see kind of how things work. But I tell you, if you have the patience to do this, and you have people that you can trust, I've seen, again, the success rate is probably between 50 and 60% on this, on the couples that have tried it. And when by, I guess, success rate, I'm talking getting from a first date into a serious relationship, whether that's marriage or living together, whatever you're defining. Again, whatever it is that you're looking for, the success rate is probably 50 to 60%. So you got a good success rate on this, probably way higher than meeting someone online, way higher than being part of a church or civic group, and getting things done that way. But that's the best way to meet someone. And so if you're willing to really go out there and you're really serious about this, take some time, think about maybe 2 couples whose opinions you trust, and then sit down with them when you have a minute. And again, this is better done in person, and just kind of explain to them that you're ready to date again, and if they know somebody that they think would be a good match, go through that process. I've seen it work, and again, it's not my idea. I had a coworker who kind of, I don't want to say invented it, but that's how he met his wife, and so I've been trying it out. I've been telling some of my single friends who were serious about getting hitched that, hey, this is what you want to try. And again, 50 to 60% success rate. I don't think any online site can do that, or any blind dates or any other kind of setups can do that. So anyway, hope you found this helpful. If you have questions or you have other suggestions about ways that the widowers can meet people, go ahead and throw them down in the comments below. Don't forget also to subscribe. I got a video here that I talked about earlier that you can watch. And anyway, I'm Abel Keogh, author of The Ultimate Dating Guide for Widowers, and I will see you next Wednesday. Thank you.